Hi, it's Dr. Dina, and it's March 1st, 2026. And this video, I'm really grateful to share a heartfelt project that I've been working on for the last 7 months. And finally, this weekend, it's kind of came into a product. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that and how it kind of fits into this lunar eclipse. But it's a digital book, and it's kind of funny story how it all came to be. Many people would say, you know, not to read. Many astrology people would say not to release or start a big project just before a lunar eclipse, because it's not only like a full moon on steroids, you know, where emotions are so intense, but it's a bit of a wild card, you know, like a cosmic reset where you never know what's going to happen. You just know things are going to be reset. So that's happening March 3rd on Tuesday. But I'm willing to take my chances because I think this information, it's really important. And it may even help sort of dissipate and calm emotions and help you find your calm in the midst of storms. Storms on the outside in the world and in political arenas, storms even in our own families and in our bodies. And this lunar eclipse is along a Pisces-Virgo axis. And Pisces is kind of like the boundless. It's the divine, the transcendence. And Virgo is like the details. It's precision. It's discernment. It's perfectionism. So it's really having to align and bring that sacred into our service, or bring the divine into the details of everyday life. So I thought it's fitting, really, to bring this to you now, because the book, I think, will help you align to your power, which is the new title. So I posted on Friday about my troubles with the publisher, and that the book was supposed to be published in November, and that I've invested a lot of time and money, and still it hasn't sort of came to fruition. And thank you, friends, Facebook friends, for all your suggestions and your encouragement and your support, because I was feeling rather discouraged about the whole thing last week. And your feedback really gave me some great ideas. And, you know, the book still may be published in a digital form. I still haven't given up on that idea. But I met with Susan Stanfield yesterday. Thank you so much, Susan. She's been such a great mentor. And she said, Dina, look, if you have the book already in a PDF form, why don't you just put it up on your website, and you can sell the digital form, and it can be like a pre-sale almost, you know, for the printable copy that might come out at some point. But it's on the website. It's on my healthtruth.blog. Just finished it, 12 o'clock last night, in hopes to get it out before this lunar eclipse. So I'll put the details and the links underneath, and I'd love you to have a look at it. I'll tell you a little bit about the books. So one is what was called 8 Steps to Awakening Your Highest Potential, servicing the ascension of humanity. And Susan goes, wow, that's a mouthful. And I said, yes. So on speaking with Susan and her advice, I thought about making it simple, and aligning to your power is something I used in my chiropractic practice for years, and had it wrote on all my calendars and cards that I would give people, you know, structurally, right, aligning to your power. But it has an expanded meaning in this book, and I'll review over the different chapters, as you can see. But it not only affects the body, but the mind and the biofield, and aligning to your power. So I changed the title, changed the book cover, and put it up in a digital form available for you. So it also has a resource guide that I had given out to a few friends initially. And any products that I suggest, most of the products I'm using myself already, and the videos that I did back in October, where I was on the rebounder and the balls and different bowls and frequency tools, all the links are in the product guide. So anything that I've mentioned in the book, you'll find websites and information and the videos that I've done in the product guide. So the book is about 200, I wrote it down, 245 pages, aligning to your power. and the resource guide is about 15 pages, but it has all the websites and everything in there. And there's also a Facebook page I started way back when I had the title, 8 Steps to Awakening to Your Highest Potential. So it's 8 Steps to Awakening, and I'll put that Facebook link in there, because as things change, what I envision is that, we're creating a community, and that the Facebook page is actually like a place where we can communicate and where we can update each other on services or products, ways to increase our vibration and align to your power. So both books will be available at healthtruth.blog in the product. So if you go to the menu, click product, and you should see the 2 books there. And the 8 steps is really, it reveals divine wisdom. So again, Pisces, right? A lunar eclipse. It's a good time to bring this out, I think. But it's drawn from sacred texts. I look at 14 different sacred texts, prophetic teachings, astrology, clan mother documents that were gifted to me by clan mother Karen MacDonald, and modern metaphysics to help you unlock your highest potential. So all these different disciplines and different texts, pulling together the best of the best and summarizing it really in this book for you. And it's not just words. It's more like a light transmission, because that's how it came to me. Almost like a inspired channel where I felt this urgency to write it in such a a quick period of time, and it was just like an urgency, and you'll see some of that in the book, that I had to get it out. So as the publisher was sort of being very slow to, wasn't honoring the same sort of timeline as I was, it was really stressful for me. But I think this digital form for now will actually be better, because it's immediate, and you can download it and you get it right away. So it's right now before the lunar eclipse, when things are a little chaotic and there's so much upheaval in the world. This is a tool, right? A tool for you to find that calm, or the eye of the storm. And again, each chapter, so it came to me like a light transmission, and each chapter is almost like an activation that helps you remember who you truly are. So I'll review over a few of the chapters here. Chapter 1 is just that. It's called, it'll go over the initiation and tips on owning your sovereignty. I had a lot of posts this week about, especially in the Indigenous community, which I'm really grateful to be a part of. But we talked about sovereignty. And in that book, I copied this one passage, I think 4 times in the one post, but it's called Free Will, the Matrix, and False Light Traps. So that'll be chapter 1, and much more, but I'm just highlighting the high points. In chapter 2, tuning into nature's frequencies. So we look at different frequencies, from stones, water, fabrics, even your thoughts, and how your frequency affects the frequency around you. So it's really quite profound, and you will look at differences between wool and linen, for example, and why you shouldn't wear them together. Chapter 3 is aligning with the cosmos. And there's where I bring in some of the clan mother documents, talking about time and how earth time and universal time are different. And it puts us on a different timeline. It kind of mixes us up unless we know these things. So timelines, harnessing the power of the planets, and something called self-directed neural priming I put in that chapter. And that's a neurological principle, but it has applications for changing your frequency and also your reality. So that'll be a little treat for you in chapter 3. Also tissue salts, astrology charts, and I include my own astrology chart because my friend Dan, as I was saying, this was inspired. It felt like a trigger almost, like something hit me and I just had to write this book really quickly. He said, did you look at your own astrology chart, at the time when you had this inspiration? And I said, well, I looked at it quickly, just generally that week, but I looked at it for the specific day that I said, okay, I'm I'm going to start this book. I have to write this book. And so for those of you who know astrology, you'll get sort of a sense of who I am and how it truly was like an inspired light transmission based on my own chart. And if you don't understand astrology, then I've also put in a key and little arrows that my son helped me put in onto my astrology chart to explain, the different transitions and transits and different conjunctions and aspects. So I keep it really simple, but it'll give you an introduction to astrology if you haven't had that experience, and that's chapter 3. And then chapter 4, I talk about activating the sacred body with sound, acupuncture meridians. I don't know if you know this, but I was a chiropractor for 23 years, but my undergrad degree was in science, in biology, psychology, so the mind and body have always been kind of interest. And then after chiropractic college, I studied acupuncture in Beijing, China. I did a little bit of an internship there, came back, practiced here for 23 years, but also studied applied kinesiology, and I'm a yoga teacher. And so I've put together all of me in that book. And there's a nutrition, there's so much in there. In those 245 pages. So I think you'd get your money's worth for $888. So chapter 4, activating the sacred body, meridians, pH. So I talk about the difference between your saliva pH and your urine pH, and what the ideal pHs should be, and what foods help, and why it's important to be more alkaline, for example, but not too alkaline. So I give you some pictures of foods and different foods that can help balance your energy. And then pineal gland activation. So that's chapter 4. Chapter 5, transmitting the shadows. This is the longest chapter. But what I'll say, we discuss fear and blocks and where it gets trapped in the body, and then how you can release it. Not only releasing it from your mind, and I give you questions to ask yourself, but I also give you actually exercises for your psoas muscle and what it represents in what the body part represents as far as your emotions. I give a spinal chart from C1 to the sacrum, something like Louise Hay has talked about in her books for many years, and how different areas of the spine also correlate to different emotional patterns. And so there's a lot in chapter 5. But anyway, I'll leave it to you to read. I've got to give you some, leave something for you to read in there. And chapter 6, color, clean, and light, we talk about raising your frequency and just practical steps, practical things that you can do to raise your frequency. And we look at David Hawkins' work in the map of consciousness and power versus force. Chapter 7, moving from alignment to action, or what we call embodied power or embodied alignment. So you can feel like you're aligned to source, Pisces, but if you're not putting it into service, if you're not putting that spiritual knowledge into the details of daily life, it gets lost, right? There has to be a smooth channel. So in chapter 7, we look at, turning your pain into purpose and alignment into action. And then chapter 8, walking through the arch. So here I talk about my own personal background and how, growing up and what my philosophies were and how they've changed. And also, some experiences that happened to me that dreams and also other experiences that help me sort of see consciousness from a different angle, let's say. In chapter 8, I also look at those 14 different sacred texts. So everything from the Bible to the Bhagavad Gita, and look at some of the commonalities. So it gives you guidance, right? And brings that kind of spiritual transcendence, divine, in whatever religion or whatever philosophy you're studying. Many people say the same thing, and I've just sort of tried to bring it into a commonality that can, I think, help you. And in helping you and helping yourself, when you change your frequency, truly you change the frequency of everything around you, and that's what changes our world. So that's why I'm so so what, I won't say passionate, but so enthusiastic about trying to get this out now, because I think our world really needs it, and we're going through some massive shifts, and that's going to happen. It's going to continue, right, throughout the year, especially over the next 3 months. So this book, I think, is a guidebook to really help you navigate navigate the terrain. And chapter 9 and 10, the last 2 chapters are more integration. And there I talk about the 12 strands of DNA and that theory, and also other systems of consciousness. So I briefly discuss astrology, human design, and gene keys as other paradigms in which you can study consciousness. So I've also given, many pages of research and books, because we're all growing. If you ever say, oh, you're enlightened and you're awakened, boom, it's time to move into, to die and move into another dimension, right? While we're here on Earth, we're all learning. And this is why I love the Facebook page, 8 Steps to Awakening, because I think this is a way that we can support each other, right, through that journey. And in sharing, we all kind of bring each other up. And people who are really high vibrators, high vibrating people, kind of radiate out and bring others up with them. So imagine if we can collect, and this is what's happening right now, right? All the star seeds and the light holders in the world are holding up the world. And it's really beautiful to witness. But we can be more powerful, right, as a team together. So maybe you'll consider downloading the book and also checking out the Facebook page. So healthtruth.blog, the product section. I'll post the links under this video. I'll also post the link to the Facebook page and 8 Steps to Awakening. I think that was all I wanted to say. So together, again, we embody higher consciousness, then it happens around us, and then it reverberates, out to the world. So changing ourselves really does change the world around you. In the product guide, I should mention too, all those videos that I had done, some people might have seen those videos in October. I also put the video links in the product guide, so you have it all there. So when I talk about rebounders and the benefit, for example, of moving lymph around in your body and supporting your immune system, I actually copy the link where you'll see me jumping around on a rebounder and singing and that sort of thing. So I'll give you the description, you'll see it in real life, and then you'll have a link if you're wanting to look at buying a product. Again, these are just products and companies that I've already used, so I'm not getting kickbacks, or I'm not trying to push it into, just people would say, oh, where did you get that? Or, oh, I love that. Where did you buy your linen sheets, for example? Or where did you get your Oregon pillars? And so I'm constantly having to kind of type in where I buy things. So I just thought this resource guide, if you want to see what I use, the earthing shoes, all that is in there with the links. I show you the shoes or show you the product and then give you the description. So I think if you're interested, that one's $2 and it's 15 pages, but so you can get both for under $10 at the healthtruth.blog. And then if you like the book, after you read it, please let me know. Comment, or if there's things that need to be changed or things that you would like to see different. I designed it myself in a program called Designer, and had to steep learning curve. So there's still maybe some things that aren't perfect, but again, this is my own learning because I have 3 planets in Virgo, which tends to make me a bit of a perfectionist. But I'm sort of letting go of that perfection, and I know it's not perfect, but I feel like it needs to get out there in this lunar eclipse, aligned with Pisces, aligning to our power. So thank you all for being here. I'm grateful to share this with you. Like I said, if you like it, or even if you don't like it, please come back and let me know. I love the feedback. The best thing about the digital form is that I can continue to add to it or change things as time goes on. I just want to say a thank you to my Facebook friends who commented this week about the book and gave me some ideas. Also to Susan Stanfield, who met with me and had a consult and gave me the encouragement to kind of just put it on my site and get it out there and not worried about it being too perfect. So I love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your consideration in all this. And reach for the stars. Envision and achieve your personal best. And most of all, enjoy the journey. This is Dr. Dina signing out.